Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need into the cloud. More importantly, save money in 2026. Go look at your print costs for 2025. See what it's doing to your bottom line. Save with our friends at Copiers Plus. Giglio is back. Thanks to Dimitri for filling in yesterday. I'm glad you're back because we have a lot of OG sports phone calls to get through today. We're going to dedicate an entire segment to that in a little bit.
None of them are about Dimitri's awful Dave Doran, Will Wade take.
Sometimes
that I was texted about 3 different times. But
I know, people, relax.
Poor Dimitri, you got to get back in that kitchen of Auburn, Alabama. That's all.
And I did point that out to him. You do have SEC football brain.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. And for the audience, sometimes you just have to let people get it out. And I'm not really, we got to keep the conversation moving. And that conversation really could have bogged down into the whole Dave Doran, Will Wade comparison. Because I don't remember it that way. Most people don't remember it that way, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to check in with Brendan Marks in a little bit from The Athletic, since we got plenty of hoops to talk about. And I have a reason why we're probably just in hoops mode the rest of the way outside of the Bill Belichick triangle good vortex we're about to enter.
We need a radio bit for that.
Well, the vortex?
For those last 3 games, the vortex. I like that.
Ooh. Well, so it's interesting.
The Big Four vortex.
So speaking of Dimitri, he sent me. So because of the Sports Podcast Festival, we got some production with Stone voiceovers.
This
right?
feels good. I feel like we're gonna feel this in my plums.
And Dimitri sent over some production work, and I'm so out of radio practice. That when I heard these, it was jarring. And he did one for Belichick, which we're going to probably have to update for you, right, to the Triangle Good Vortex. This is what it sounds like.
Belichick watch.
And he's got a little music and all that kind of stuff, right?
Stinger.
But so the other stinger that we came up with was for the social media stuff. So here's what this sound. This is so radio.
Giglio's social crap.
Right?
That's so good.
And then you want to talk about, like, in another life, this is what the intro should have sounded like.
This is Ovies and Giglio.
Yeah. I might just slap that on before I might just slap that on
to hockey.
I might just slap that on to our music intro with the
right at the end
with the McDonald's bounce. So maybe we do that.
Ovies and Giglio.
So the reason why you weren't here yesterday, is you were on the golf course. You were over at Sedgefield.
No, I was in Wakefield.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wakefield. And you saw the SWAF.
I did.
The old Ninja Commission was in the house.
He was. I was with Paige Marsh.
Yeah.
Former women's golf coach at NC State. Also a member of the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame for her unbelievable amateur golf career. So Paige went to Carolina, played at Carolina, and for a long time was the only person in the athletic department at NC State who was a Carolina grad. And she was married to my mentor, George Tarantini. George had passed away. George, Coach Elliot Avent, who played with us yesterday. And so it was me, Paige, and Elliot, and then Randy Brownlow and Swaff were playing together.
Shout out to the big dog.
I see Randy and I'm like, oh, fuck, we're going to lose. We're lost by a stroke.
Because Randy is that dude. Brownlow's dad is that dude.
Yes. He is a stick.
Yes.
So, but Swaff comes over and I was like, look, it's your favorite. Me and Elliot, I go, look, it's your favorite NC State people.
Yeah.
Elliot's like, I don't have any problems with John. I was like, oh, stop. Oh, please stop right now.
This is, I wish you were golfing today with the SWAF, because then you could show them the college football playoff initial rankings. And I'm just going to focus on the rankings, not on the bracket itself, because the bracket at this point means nothing, right?
Sure.
And when I saw the rankings and I saw Virginia at 14, and obviously they're projected to be the ACC champion, and they're the lone team in the bracket, I got to imagine that John Swofford looks at that and goes, ain't my problem anymore. Because y'all, that's not good. the fact that Georgia Tech is ranked 17th, that Miami is ranked 18th. Louisville, I get, is in there at 15, but this is not good for the ACC. We're looking at one bid for the conference when just a couple of weeks ago we were talking about two and how that math would work out.
Well, the good news is in this initial set of rankings, first of all, they're never right.
They're never right.
Second of all, there's two Big 12 teams. Those two Big 12 teams not only play each other in BYU and Texas Tech. I do believe Texas Tech will take care of BYU.
Mm-hmm.
BYU then finishes with TCU, who we've seen is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And they also go to Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield has that thing moving a little bit. So there's a way here for if you're ACC and you're Jim Phillips and you're in Charlotte and you want to see a second ACC team get into the field, I don't like myself for what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
I do not like myself for what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
There's two ways. Well, first of all, you need Texas Tech to beat BYU.
All right, Dr. Strange. What are the
Here we go.
ways?
Yeah.
Please, Dr. Strange, tell me the million permutations, and there's one way, and we're in the end game now.
We're in the end game, but there's two. Okay.
All right.
They both start with this.
Yeah.
You want Texas Tech to win, to beat BYU, and then you want BYU to lose again. Because objectively, if you look at BYU's resume, you're like, well, why would they get in as not the Big 12 champion? Same with Texas Tech. It could go either way, but I'm telling you, BYU is the more difficult schedule. So it would be hey, Texas Tech, you win, take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hope they don't meet again.
Yeah.
Because gosh, that would be sticky. But you want one Big 12 team to run the table, get in, pull into the barn, and be in. You want the team who loses on Saturday to lose again and be on the fringe of the conversation. Okay. Now you're the ACC. You're like, okay, Virginia. I still think Virginia loses to Duke.
Yes.
And I suspect it'll be Louisville versus Georgia Tech potentially.
And the winner gets in.
Yes. If here's your other way, here are the two ways you could possibly get in. Georgia Tech runs the table,
mm-hmm.
which means they beat Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either.
But they could.
Sure. It's on the table.
And you'd almost be better off with them running the table and not getting into the ACC championship game.
They're in the Miami seat right now.
With that nice trump card win over Georgia.
Yes.
Right? The other one.
You're asking a lot, though.
You are. The other one who you're actually not asking that much of is Miami.
No, I am asking too much. It's November 5th? You're asking too much. If you ask this question in October, I would say cool, but it's now November.
Objectively,
yeah.
Okay, take everyone's opinions of Mario Cristobal out of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Objectively,
mm-hmm.
If Miami were to finish the season at 10-2, objectively, they now potentially, you could get there on Selection Sunday and say, well, we have Notre Dame in the field. Miami beat them.
Yes.
We have South Florida, the American champion, in the field.
Who'd they beat?
Miami beat them.
Yep.
You could also then have Louisville turn out to be the ACC champion. Miami didn't beat them,
mm-hmm.
but you're now looking at three teams in the field going, well, they went 2-1 against the field. Oh, by the way, they also beat Florida pretty handily. Florida's probably going to finish 6-6, 5-7, something in there.
Sure.
But Florida also has enough on their resume that you can look at Florida and go, that was a pretty good win. Now you start comparing that to BYU's resume. You start comparing that to some of these other teams.
Mm-hmm.
My real concern for the ACC really isn't the Big 12 at this point. It's that fifth SEC team. Because the SEC looked at last night's rankings and said, now, wait a second.
They're going to be banging the table on that.
Wait a second.
My last point on this before we move on to basketball. The reason why I'm not optimistic for the ACC is twofold. One, we're asking a lot of certain teams.
There's a lot of dominoes that have to fall into
a lot.
Other than Georgia Tech, who can make a clear path at it.
Yes. And the worst thing you can do in college football playoff discussions is A, trust the initial rankings.
And assume.
B,
assume
that your Dr. Strange permutations on the timeline and the gemstones moving around, as you like to say, they all actually work out. That never happens. But
Correct.
Here's the real reason why I'm concerned for the ACC. All of those rankings, that is contextual rankings. Those are all rankings in the back half of the top 25 to justify whatever it is the college football playoff wants to do. They're moving around ACC teams as a chess piece to justify other things, not for the ACC. And if you don't believe me, go read the comments yesterday from the playoff committee where they straight up said this. that the rankings move around on the back half to justify whatever it is they want that bracket to look like. And right now, the ACC is in a bad spot when it comes to that.
6-3 Tennessee, whose best win is against. Sure.
Exactly. All right. Since I proclaimed ACC football dead after the college football playoff rankings were revealed last night, since I've proclaimed the ACC football dead, let's just focus on basketball the rest of the way. Brendan Marks, The Athletic, joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Brendan, what up, man? When Virginia's your lone ACC representation, it's just time to talk about hoops, bro.
Listen, there's nobody happier than me to turn the page to basketball. You will not find a single person in the Triangle who is more thrilled that it is full on basketball season. I'm going to try and leave football. We'll see if we can leave football behind.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some interesting Bill Belichick versus the Triangle games on deck, which we are excited about. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. But let's focus on hoops, since that's been taking most of the mind share this week, and go to Charlotte last night. I know you were there for the Duke-Texas game, and Giglio and I have talked about this. This isn't a pattern already for Duke, is it? A little bit of a slow start, still kind of figuring things out offensively, and then Cam Boozer has a great first half. I know what Sean Miller said. He had an off game and still had a double-double. So that's just kind of like the basic premise for Duke basketball in the early going so far.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a weird start to the game, but certainly you're right. Like patterns, we're seeing shades of this now in 3 straight games, all against high major teams. Duke scored 3 points in the first 6.5 minutes against Texas, and then scored 26 points in the next 6.5 minutes, and then the last 6.5 going into halftime, only 3. So they had this, 6.5 minute burst where they looked incredible. Isaiah Evans had 14 points in 4 minutes. Boozer's creating, drawing gravity. But it still looks a lot harder than it probably needs to be. It's hard to not compare this team to last year's team in every sense, but that team was just so advanced right off the jump, even though it lost its first high major team to Kentucky in the Champions Classic. It just felt like it was a little bit further along, I guess, at this point in the season. Duke's going to be fine. Cam Boozer's going to be fine. He's a grown man. But certainly I think John Shire is still toying with and playing with lineups, and it might take a little longer than we thought for them to sort of figure out where all the pieces fit.
Well, watch what I do here. Cam Boozer is the wolf blood. Caden Boozer, though, he belongs to Duke. How about that?
Is that how we're doing it?
I don't hate it, Giglio. I don't hate it. Yeah.
No, I think the way he responded after the half, like the way that, and he's driving the bus here. Like it's fairly clear what they are. And you could see some of their holes, to your point about last year. They felt like a more complete team, even though, Cooper Flagg led them in every category in the history of basketball. You could see where the holes need to be filled in. And obviously Juice Evans can really fill it up. But it's like Caleb Foster, like you're now, like we need you to be just a little bit more than what you're showing so far. I thought Dame Sarr was going to be something that he's not yet. So obviously they're waiting on that. But the big guy, your guy, Pat, you've always been a little bit sweet on him. It feels like he can be a little bit more of a difference maker as well for Duke.
Yeah, for sure. I will say I thought Pat spent more time on his back than I've seen from a 7-footer in a long time against Texas. That's probably got to correct itself. But yeah, like to me, the guy who I agree with everything you said, Giglio. To me, the guy who still determines Duke's ceiling, and we saw it last night, for better and for worse, is Caleb Foster. He has to be able to give them something, even if he is a 9-2-2 kind of guy. Like that most nights with Boozer doing what he does and Isaiah Evans turning into a flamethrower, that's going to be good enough. The thing is, can he not lose himself? And in the first half, he misses a bunny, commits a stupid frustration foul, sends Texas to the line. Like, you're the junior Duke point guard. You're the guy that John Shire wanted to retain as much as anybody. That can't be happening anymore. And I did think he responded well in the second half. He had a huge elbow jumper that just cut off a Texas 7-0 run, pushed it to double 2 possessions, and never got close from then on. His defense was better in the second half. He to me, is still the guy. Like, I think Ngongba's going to be fine. I think that, the rest, Dame Sarr, defensively, he's going to be fine. He's going to have his moments. Foster, to me, is the one, like, you have to see it from him consistently every game. Duke just doesn't really have any other, lead guard options. It has to have.
So let's overreact to what we've seen so far, because that's what we love to do. And last year we saw, with very limited success, end of game situations or end of half situations for Jon Scheyer. And it was, all right, Cooper Flagg, we're going to do this thing. Didn't necessarily work out. Now, I understood why that was happening early on, right? This whole, if he's your best player, if he is the bus driver, as Giglio likes to say, and you need a guy to go get the bucket and win you the game, I mean, that made sense. He was the one that was going to do it, and that's what you were setting up in these non-conference games. We're clearly seeing that again with Cam Boozer. It makes logical sense. He's your best player. He can do it all. He's a one-man wrecking crew. I get all that stuff. But we kind of saw it there at the end of the half where it's still a little herky-jerky. Is this a player dynamic thing? Is it a Jon Scheyer thing? Is he still learning? What do you take away from, what's going to be a thing that will will follow Jon from the Final Four of, in these situations, what are you doing as the coach?
Yeah, I think it is very much a thing that he is aware of. I think it's a thing that, this offseason, one of the assistant coaches they hire, they bring in Evan Braz from the Utah Jazz. That is a direct correlation to, hey, I need some help with these end of game special situations. Duke last year was so good that he didn't have to call a lot. I mean, those players basically could just go and do it on their own, which is what you want. But as a coach, you guys know this, there are probably 15 plays that you got to call in a game as a coach. There are, 10 of them are special situations. Those are the ones you got to get right. And so I think for him, leaning on someone on his staff to be able to do that, I will be interested to see the first time they are in a true down to the wire game. Maybe it's in Madison Square Garden. Maybe it's in Chicago against Cal and Arkansas. I am interested to see if he still lets the bus driver take the shot, or do you maybe set something up where there's an option for Boozer to pass to Isaiah Evans? Mm-hmm. Or do you set something up where maybe Patrick Gongba is sitting at the rim? I don't know, but I would like to think that he will not be as live or die by the sword as he was last year, because you say it didn't necessarily work, Joe. There were 4 times that Cooper Flagg took the game-winning shot, and none of those times turned out into Duke victory.
Yeah.
North Carolina, obviously, I don't know if we got a lot out of Michael Jordan's alma mater against Scottie Pippen's alma mater, but I continue to be impressed with our guy, Caleb Wilson. And hey, look at that. Their best shooter was on the floor, Bogovic. Have you ever been able to make heads or tails of what actually happened there with Carolina, with Hubert Davis coming out saying, yeah, he's been cleared by the NCAA, but not us?
Yeah. So as best as I can describe it, there are 2 separate processes, right? So on one hand, you have the NCAA, which is clearing 85,000 former professionals from Europe at the same time. And they're saying, look, you were a pro. We don't care. You're good to go. That was one half of it. That was the part that they got a couple of weeks ago. That was never really in question. But then there's also the part of, hey, are you eligible, based on college basketball rules to play? When did you graduate high school? For example, you're supposed to be within the 5-year window after graduating high school to be able to play. So, hey, buddy, we need to see some transcripts, or you need to go find some transcripts that show that you graduated high school not in 2016, so that we can make sure that you can play. So
I get some friends at the upper room who can help you there.
Yes. So it's an operation that I think other schools are maybe a bit more familiar with. But I basically, the NCAA process was always going to happen. This one, they had to wait and get the paperwork. I personally thought that he was going to not play the opener. And then, would you look at that? He's cleared before Kansas. Now there's a little tape on it for Bill Self, but so it goes.
Yeah, we had a OG Sports phone call that was into the conspiracy theory weeds that they didn't want Luka tape ahead of the Kansas game. And that's what the registrar's office was actually doing Hubert Davis a favor. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now with hoops.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fine. He was always going to play this season. But yeah, it was never a question. I think a lot of people at one point were like, oh, is he ever going to play? Is he going to be out for the whole season? And given what they're paying him, if he had not been able to play, that would have been a gross misappropriation of funds, time, effort, everything on North Carolina's behalf. That, to me, was never in the cards.
So, freshmen in college basketball are having a moment more so than what we had last year with Cooper Flagg and the business of Cooper Flagg. I think you're looking at freshmen across the country. You're looking at Cameron Boozer at Duke. You've got Caleb Wilson at North Carolina that people are very excited about. He dunked. Oh, my goodness, this is exciting. Is Kaye Evans like the one that to me is the secret sauce to all this and what it's going to look like against Kansas? I think to me, that's the thing that I'm most curious about with guard. We've focused on the front court. We've focused on getting bigger. We talked to Hubert Davis at ACC tip-off about just their general size. But one thing we do know about Carolina hoops, that guard play's got to work. And I like the overall game, but you also put that relative to the competition on Monday night.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say it's just Kaye Evans, but you need one of him, Trimble, or Bogovac to be the guy in the backcourt every game. Evans as a shooter, obviously he brought that the other night against Kansas. We'll see, does that translate? You were the driving engine, one of the driving engines for NCAA tournament team last year. Colorado State was really good. Like I buy the vision, but does it translate? Seth Trimble, is still doing Seth Trimble things. We don't know that he'll ever, be a consistent three-point shooter. That's okay. It is what it is. To me, this is kind of my sneaky. I don't know that it's even a hot take, guys. I think by the end of the year, Bogovac is the point guard.
Okay.
I think that his ability to navigate the pick and roll, his ability to decelerate, he's not necessarily a straight line blow by you guy, but he does have enough wiggle to get by people one-on-one. I think he's probably got that to the best ability of any of those three guards. He can do the shooting. He's not going to be an amazing defender, but that's what Trimble is there for. I am kind of starting to sell myself on the Bogovac is going to be on the wing, but maybe in the last 5 minutes of a game, he's going to be your point guard. He's going to be your decision maker. And then that frees Evans up to be more of a spot up shooter. It lets Trimble rip off the catch. That's my working theory on how this eventually matriculates for UNC.
All right, Brendan, Carolina grad. I got a trivia question for you. You ready?
Oh, boy.
Can you name the last Tar Heel basketball coach to beat Kansas?
Oh, wow. Well, it's certainly not Hubert Davis.
Hubert Davis 0-2
Yeah.
against the Jayhawks.
If I had to guess, I would go Guthridge.
Very, very close. Very, very close. Second time today, our guy Matt Doherty gets a shout out on this program. Preseason IT in 2002.
Wow.
Matt Doherty beat Roy Williams at Kansas. My goodness gracious.
Can you imagine if
You guys-
idea was around back then?
Are you guys getting are you getting a cut from this? Are you kicking back to Doherty for this episode?
I don't. Giglio's on this thing lately.
Did you guys invest in the leadership book? Are you trying to pump this thing?
I was on this kick lately about vengeance for Bill Guthridge. Bill Guthridge was taken care of by Dean Smith. He got his retirement. He got his pension.
I'll take that 50-50 Final Four percentage any day of the year.
I'll go to the Final Four more often than not, and I get my pension to kick in because I coached exactly for 3 years. Hell freaking yes, man. The Doherty thing I'm finding fascinating.
Oh no, they love to pitch. They love to rabbit hole Doherty as if he never existed. So I'm just pointing out the last Carolina coach to actually beat Kansas was indeed Matt Doherty.
And Carolina's really suffered since 2002.
They really have.
They've really been going through it with those losses to Kansas along the way since 2002. Let me tell you.
Let's see.
I mean, there was the Final Four. This game is over. Yes, I think they've been 5.
Well, 4 of the 5 have been in the NCAA tournament, including 1 in the national championship. So yeah, they did suffer. I mean, 1 was in the Final Four, 1 was in the championship.
09.
No, when they see Kansas
17.
though,
I think they've been fine. Okay. They've been fine. I think it's okay.
You know what? I'll embarrass myself. I'll step on the landmine here. I think that streak ends. I think Hubert Davis is going to beat Kansas on Friday.
So here's the question. And we'll close on this. If Hubert Davis beats Kansas and actually has the season he's supposed to have,
well, the last coach to beat Kansas got 5.
Well, no. Are we in Dave Doran protocols?
Could be
with Hubert Davis in that hey man, sweet, but damn it.
I can I pull a Mike Johnson and say I disagree with the premise of the question?
No. If you were Mike Johnson, you would. You'd say, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it yet.
I will say this, respectfully to Dave Doran, of course. Hubert has already accomplished more at North Carolina and did in his first season than Dave ever will.
No doubt. You are absolutely correct. I am not going to argue, but you are trying to avoid the question. You are avoiding my point. You are avoiding my point.
So let me get to the second part of this. And this is something that I think I don't know if North Carolina fans are like bitter about this. I don't know if they are resentful about this. But I have heard this sentiment from some North Carolina fans regarding Hubert Davis, that he has already accomplished the things he will always be known for.
Okay.
So beating Kaye in the last home game, the run in 22, knocking off Duke in the Final Four, the halftime lead against Kansas in the national title, Brady Manick, folk hero, Caleb Love, like the shot. The only thing that he can do that will be remembered more than that entire run and all of those events is actually winning it all. So if you believe that Hubert Davis can compile the talent to win it all, then I think maybe not Dave Doran territory. Okay. I think this year is a great test case for if he can do that. I personally, the talent they have and the money they've spent, Giglio's like, what the hell is he talking?
He's laughing already.
God.
What are you laughing about?
I do not think.
How did we get here?
I don't think if Hubert Davis was on the open market, I don't think that he would be a highly sought after commodity. Let me put it that way.
No, yeah.
But I do think there is still a realm where he improves from the herky-jerky of the first 4 years and becomes a consistent second weekend NCAA tournament coach with the potential to make another Final Four or two. There are enough resources there. He is a smart enough basketball mind. I think that those things can simultaneously be true. But to some extent, yes, if they make the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight this year, that extension goes to 2030, guys.
Forever grateful, Brendan. Forever grateful. Brendan Marks, The Athletic. Basketball season is here, which means he has less incentive to talk about Bill Belichick, which makes him happy. Makes him so happy. Look at you.
Look
at you repping an Athletic thing. Look at that sweater.
If I knew how cameras, yeah.
Do I get that with my subscription, or I gotta ask a guy?
I know a guy.
All right.
I know a guy. Price of the brick has gone up, but I know a guy.
The price of everything has gone up. All right, man. We appreciate the time. We will talk to you later.
Yeah, everything but the Duke concession vouchers. See you guys.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
OG Winter Pop-Up Shop is live. It closes on December 1st. Hey, Joe, why are you closing the OG Pop-Up Shop on December 1st? That's because we want to make sure there's a little OG under the tree. Guaranteed delivery by Christmas. That's what it's all about. So we shut the shop down at that date. Plus, it's a pop-up shop. They don't last forever. That's what the secret stash is for. But for the pop-up shop, as you're watching on YouTube, we got two types of full zip hoodies. The Drunk OG pullover hoodie, or as I told some children today who visited the studio and they wanted stickers, I said, well, would you like the overly tired wolf?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Couldn't call him the drunk wolf. Like, wait, what's wrong with the... No, he's just super tired.
Youth.
He's just super tired. And of course, we've got beanies, toboggans, whatever you want to freaking call them. I don't care. Just go buy one. Reasonably priced at $25. The hoodies are $60. And again, the OG pop-up shop closes December 1st so that you can have some OG under the tree. Go to ogtrianglemediashop.com. Still in the planning phases for our Raleigh Christmas Parade takeover. Very excited about that. What?
This is one of our more harebrained schemes.
This is a Hayes Permar production.
Be interesting to see how we pull this off.
It'll be fine. Look, I'm inspired by our friends at Two Roosters. How do they pull some of these things off?
Like the chocolate chip pie, ice cream pie. You got to speak.
Let me turn the meeting voice off. So you got to order that stuff here in the next couple of weeks if you want this for Thanksgiving. This is very, very important.
Okay, I saw
What did you see?
Jared
Yes.
at the game
Mm-hmm.
on Monday, the
Mhm.
reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
He has a new promotion at the arena.
Okay.
Am I in the?
Yeah, you're in the shot.
Okay.
What is that?
That
looks like a waffle cone.
The Will Wade waffle cone
Oh.
that you can get exclusively at the arena, and portions of the sales
Mm-hmm.
go to the Jimmy V Foundation.
Awesome.
So that was part of the, Jared's involved in NIL and supporting the men's basketball program, women's basketball program in NC State. But the deal that they worked out with Will Wade was specifically to help out the V Foundation.
That's
so
right.
Good for all parties involved there.
So go check that out at Wolfpack Games. Go to tworoosters.com to get your pre-orders in for
Whoa.
What voice is
It's
that?
a
There we
robot.
go. Chocolate chess pie, ice cream pie, pumpkin roll.
That upside down pineapple cake.
It looks good stuff.
Dear goodness.
Very,
gracious.
very good stuff. You're buying all this ice cream. You got to save money somewhere, somehow, right? So contact our friend Matt Davis. Hey, Matt, look, I don't know what my home and auto insurance is right now. Can I save a little money? Because I keep buying all these things from Two Roosters. Cool. Hey, we got you.
Got you, fam.
So insuregardener.com, 919-779-8277. I can also help you financially plan. So in 2026, you're not breaking the budget for Two Roosters ice cream. See what we did there? So contact Matt Davis over at State Farm, insuregardener.com or 919-779-8277. Speaking of money, you've got a handle on your personal finances. You might have a handle on your ice cream budget. But what if you have a small business, you get government funding, and you got to start getting ready for tax season? Not to do your taxes, but to get everything in preparation for your taxes. Almost about that time. So you need to contact our guy, Chris, brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com in Homer, Alaska, where the ice cream never melts.
I would say no. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's always cold there,
Yeah.
below freezing.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
I mean,
I've never been to Alaska. You don't need to go to Alaska.
we're big in Alaska. I like that we're big in
Huge.
Alaska. And Canada.
And the thing is, that's right. The thing is, you don't have to, and the Dominican Republic. But the thing is, we don't have to go to Homer, Alaska.
No.
Brassfield Accounting can do
Comes
it for
to
you
you.
remotely. So go to brassfieldaccounting.com.
I tell you, I played golf the other day with an actual CFO.
No.
Yeah. I was feeling wistful.
I've been playing a lot of golf lately.
Well, I mean,
Hugh Freeze over here.
I wish I had you freezes, Andy.
You gonna see Hugh on the course one of these days?
I wish.
Big thanks to our friends at Color Graphic. We had a lot of fun with a brief history of Triangle Good. But the thing is, brief history of Triangle Good is a state of mind. It's not just a summer thing. We're constantly reminding you
About the big four vortex.
We are reminding you that the faces change, the contracts are crazy, but at the end of the day, when it comes to some football stuff, you're just being Triangle Good.
When does the vortex hit?
Pretty soon, in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because it starts with Wake Forest, then you got Duke, which is the same weekend as the NC State Florida State game, which is on a Friday night.
Oh boy.
And then we might be pulling a double on Raleigh Christmas Parade night. I don't know what time that Duke Carolina game is going to be.
Okay.
Maybe we just stay live at the parade while that game's going on. I have no idea. Regardless, go to Color Graphic, hit them up, email them, sales@colorgraphic.com. Again, that's sales@colorgraphic.com. So as promised, I held off on a lot of OG sports phone calls from the reckoning on Monday night at Lenovo Center. And we talked about some other matters with Brendan. We always appreciate his time. But Joe, I thought this would be where I just open up the floor to you, since you did not have a chance yesterday to react to the reckoning that you were witness to with your own eyes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I thought Monday was fun for NC State.
Mhm.
The building wasn't, I mean, technically probably sold out, but there's probably like 15,000 people there.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen for a non-conference game. Certainly not an opener. Certainly since the very first game in that building. in 1999. So I thought that part of it was good energy. There was like this sense of anticipation. And then the way that they started the game, they brought out the old noise meter, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, the fake one.
They had, then they had the 83 jerseys, the state on them, just the plain state, which everyone's like, you won 2 national championships with just state. People were not confused that you were like Michigan State or like North Dakota State.
I was always confused by that. But by the way, Joe is not making that up. That's a real thing. Why NC State took so long, or why there was some sort of hesitant reason to not just go back to the state, because you might be confused with Michigan State,
Kansas State,
Mississippi State.
So
I don't know.
I thought that was cool. Then the way that they started the game, Darian Williams scored 11 of the first 13 points. The 2 points he didn't score was an assist from him to Van Allen Lubin for a dunk. I thought they came out, they understood the assignment, and the way that they played, they were aggressive. We saw a lot of different guys, but I thought Williams drove the bus. I thought he understood the assignment and set the tone for the team. These were all good things. By half, I thought Lavelle Moten was able to keep them in it for the first half. They played a lot of zone. There was a matchup zone in there. He tried to get a little bit of a deliberate pace. For all of you coaches out there, if you're looking for someone who runs a bunch of stuff, I got news for you. Nobody runs more sets on offense than Lavelle. I thought he did a great job in the first half of that game. They were able to get to the rim a little bit, get behind NC State's defense a little bit. I thought Will did a really good job with the zone pressure. That's like a full court zone pressure. That's really a way to slow down the opponent. It's also a way to get into their half court kind of trap. So all of the things that you wanted to see, and right down to State gets up by 50 in the second half. And then Will, noticing that Tony Henderson is working this game, goes up and says, "Hey man, it's kind of like being the first day in prison. You go find the biggest guy, and you get into a fight with him, and you set the tone for the season. I don't care that we're up 50. I'm about to get this technical because I'm going to see you, Tony, about 12 more times this year. And when you see me, I want you to know that I'm this passionate in a 50-point game as I will be when Georgia Tech or who is ever in here, Miami, and we're fighting for, trying to get an ACC win." So I thought that was a really smart move by him. Also throws the red meat to the State fans who were there in anticipation of this moment since he was hired back in March. So those were all good things. He gets to the end then after they win the game, and we get the on the court, him talking about the reckoning, the Red Reckoning. All throughout the game, Red Reckoning is on the scoreboard. Okay. So this is his theme. He's trying to motivate the fans. He's trying to motivate the players. I totally get all of those things. I thought in all, fun game for State. They covered by 1 million points. Yeah. By the way, you want to make fans happy? You cover by 1 million points and make it easy. You don't have to sweat it. A bunch of them. Okay. So those were all good things. So I find the response to me questioning this team after an exhibition game to be confusing, because I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. And you've told me this before. There's a lot of times where people don't want to, you might be right, but they don't want to hear it from you. Okay.
Or right now.
It's fine. You can question the timing, but I'm going to give you a quick story. Clayton White is the defensive coordinator at South Carolina now. Clayton White played at NC State while I was in school at NC State. So I kind of thought Clayton would be receptive to my nonsense when he came back and started working for Dave Doran. And it was a signing day, and State had a thing at the football stadium actually. And it was the first. Remember Dave's first year? They had no one in the secondary, and Clayton was in charge of the secondary. And I wasn't like assigning blame to him for NC State's poor tackling. It was just I was just kind of commiserating with him about like, hey, this is some shit. I hope you got some better guys this year. Something along those lines. Well, he took offense to that. And he was like, basically went to Annabelle Myers and was like, who is this guy? Like, why is he questioning this, that, and the other? So it was like 2 full years later that I finally see him walking off of the field, and he was with Des Kitchings. And because the story had been relayed to me that he didn't like me. And so I was like, you don't like me? Like, okay, that's kind of weird. I go, wait a second. You worked for Jim Harbaugh, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I would think by now you were used to like brutal honesty and people kind of, laying it all bare for you. And Des Kitchings, without missing a beat, goes, yeah, that's Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
What do you know?
Right.
Right.
You don't need Des Kitchens to tell you that. That's common sense.
What do you know?
Right.
And I said, that's fair. Here's what I know. I know how coaches think. I know how their minds work. I know how competition works. And I present to you, first of all, this is Darian Williams, the preseason player of the year, talking in what is an atrocious postgame setup for NC State. Atrocious. I say that because everyone is available at the same time. You don't have an opportunity to talk to people. You know what? I'm not even going to complain about it. I'm just going to label it as atrocious and move along. But he was asked not about the preseason game, not about that, but listen to his answer.
Yeah, I don't think we put our best foot forward last weekend, so we really just want to come out here and be focused. And like you said, our preparation this week was a lot of us were a lot more focused to the details and everything. So coming out here was great.
Now, where would he have heard that we didn't put our best foot forward? Not from me, but from his coach. From his coach. Okay? Coaches, when they compete and they set a tone, they're the ones who go over and look at, hey, we got away with one today. We got to be better than that, particularly on the defensive end. I thought they were better on the defensive end. Here's another one. This is the one thing that Bill Belichick was missing at North Carolina. A person on his team who speaks his language. This is Kadir Copeland and Jaden Fisher at the News and Observer had asked, did it feel like Christmas Day? Like finally being able to play in this game and everything that happened. And I want you to listen to what Copeland says, because I think this is kind of sort of important.
Feel like Christmas morning.
No, it did not feel like. We still play for Will Wade, you guys are watching. So, he doesn't take nothing lightly, especially like game days. Like, there's no laughing, joking. It's all seriousness. It's straight to business. It don't matter who we playing against. So, definitely not Christmas morning. I feel like
we still play for Will Wade. That's his standard. Again, he's the one who set the standard. I'm just applying his sensibilities to that standard. So you can take it as a fan and say, oh, you're being hard on them. I promise you, I'm not being anywhere near as hard as them as Will Wade was after the way that they had played against South Carolina.
Yeah, I guess when Will Wade says after the exhibition game, which we're still fucking talking about for some reason, don't accept in winning what you wouldn't accept in losing.
Right.
I guess he said it this way. You said it another way, and they don't want to hear it from you.
Correct.
They're happy that the coach said it
because you don't know shit. Is the direct quote? What do you don't know shit?
I mean, that's
the truth is I know a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the fucking lot in life we live in this side of the business. I mean, it's just that simple. I don't know. I guess I've heard that plenty. As it relates to some things that I've been right about stuff, and I just move with it.
It's not about being right
and have some grudge match.
It's not about being right. It's how it's interpreted, right? And like I said, Will Wade has a standard. It's pretty clear what Will Wade's standard here. If you don't believe me, listen to Kadir Copeland. Hey, we still play for Will Wade. And I think that's what that technical's about, being up 50 too. He's saying to his players, I don't care if we're up 50. I'm going after this thing. And that's the way we have to be, because he's writing checks with his mouth that he's interested in cashing. I think he's genuinely into this Red Reckoning thing. He opened his post-game press conference talking about something he created called Basketball 365, about trying to sell the building out and this whole initiative. And I'm just kind of like, that's super unusual for a coach, right? We can't even get Bill Belichick to string 2 sentences together, let alone explain to us what he's about. This guy's over here like a Bond villain telling you, when I was hired, I put this group together. We tried to get this place to sell out, blah, 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 like this whole thing. He's got a whole thing to him. This guy's driven in a way that's at a different level. I'm not going to say than all of you, but I'm saying to you, I understand what is motivating this man. I do.
Well, compare and contrast to Doran. Right. And I think that's really to focus on NC State and why people are reacting the way they're reacting. You just described a guy who is all gas, no brakes.
Yes.
The problem with Dave Doran is that he's mostly brakes and hardly any gas. And I think that's where you're seeing this just immediate gravitation over to what Will Wade is doing.
I will tell you the difference between Dave and Will. Dave is a different person behind the scenes, behind the camera, off of the camera.
The two Daves.
Than he is in front of them.
Yes.
Okay. Will is the same person, whether you're going to talk to him on the hall, on the street, in a press conference, Will is Will.
Yes.
Will can't turn off being Will.
Yes.
And I think people appreciate that, at least for now.
There is a for now aspect.
At least for now.
There is a for now aspect of it.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
My favorite text came from a 252. Is it safe to say that Will Wade is a fan of the podcast? Up by 50 and gets a tech. Build the statue. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. Maybe there's somebody on stat that listens to the podcast, but definitely not that. Our sports phone is brought to you by Nature's Relief. You can check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. That's RELEAF hempstore.com. The way that we've already been hitting the basketball takes, and we literally just started the season, I feel like some of you need a gummy. Let's chill. Let's break it down a little bit. Maybe you need a couch melter while you're watching some hoops.
Monday was fun. Now, 9 o'clock on a Friday against UAB. Poof.
Different kind of story.
It's a lot.
Different kind of story. Let's go out to a 336.
I would say tonight was a reckoning. A good team would have won tonight. A great team would have covered the 33.5-point spread. And a reckoning is winning by 48 points. It's a reckoning, Joe.
To another 336.
Hey, Joe. Love the show. Matt from Cary. One of the things that I love more than beating the brakes off of NC Central is that the team actually stayed on the court for the alma mater. I don't understand why the football team doesn't do it. I don't understand why the basketball team hasn't done it for years. Women's team does it, and they seem to love it. I'm very happy that Wade kept them on the court. Everybody's arm in arm, swaying back and forth to the alma mater. Love it. Love the show. Keep it up.
I find the bar to be really low at this point for some of the things that people, it's like when the Carolina Panthers, when Jerry Richardson was forced to sell the team.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the easiest things that David Tepper could have done was just put the logo, the Panthers logo at the 50-yard line, and people lost their minds over that. That's how low the bar is for Will Wade in some aspects. All you got to do is show that you love us a little bit, or that you quote unquote get it, and we're going to put our arms around you. I'm not saying this in any sort of negative way. I'm simply pointing out that some of the reaction to the most low-level things you could do is almost like there's some lessons to be applied, you know? Like in your own relationship. Hey, how about you make dinner plans
Pick
for
up
once?
the garbage. Empty the dishwasher.
How low the bar is. So next time you clean out the dishwasher, or you put everything away, you make dinner plans, you do something that the bar is low, say to yourself, that's reckoning. See how that works for you. Let's go to a 919.
Let's freaking go. Finally, I think the folks in the marketing department get it. Rocking out the old noise meter, putting on the throwbacks, the symmetry between Valvano and Wade with the basketballs on the court that you guys discussed today. I mean, the whole 9 yards was a success tonight to open up the Will Wade era. Now, let me just say this. No matter what the season holds, no matter, the good, the bad, the ugly with it all, that right there is the type of coach that I want. I've never been more excited, not after the Final Four, not after the ACC championship, not after, great wins in the past and the runs with Godfrey. And I love Mark Godfrey. Shout out to Mark Godfrey. But, Will Wade, I finally feel like we've got it right. Thank you, Boot Corrigan. Please unblock me on Twitter. Thanks.
One thing I forgot to mention. Well, yeah, but get your laughs out, because I forgot about this part. They rearranged the seating on the floor.
Oh, did they?
At the Lenovo Center.
Okay.
There are 4 seats directly to the right of Will Wade, the head coach.
Oh, who's sitting there?
And I was like, at first, I was like, well, I couldn't. I'm in the hockey press box again, so I can't tell or discern, right? So at first, I'm like, well, that's interesting. There's 4 seats, and it was kind of sort of like maybe someone who could be of the age of Will Wade's parents. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe they put Will Wade's parents, like right next to him for his first game. Like, that's kind of cool. And then he comes out and he like hugs, embraces the couple. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it is his parents. I don't know. Before the game starts, they say, let us honor Brian McMurray and his wife. They didn't call her his wife, but they like basically like 1950s the thing and said, hey, Brian McMurray. So Brian McMurray, if you don't know, is the new Wendell Murphy, is the guy who is primarily responsible not only for NC State's payroll this year, which Lavelle Moten got into, but also the one who actually hired Will Wade, not Boo Corrigan. So Brian McMurray right there, literally on the bench with his wife and family next to the coach that he hired and is now paying the team. Like the owner of NC State basketball that he is.
That's pretty funny.
And they announced him. They honored him. They were like, oh yeah, it's the official, the Boo Corrigan is the official Brian McMurray family chair of director of athletics. And I'm like, sure.
No, he's the actual athletic director here.
Sure.
So Wendell Murphy famously had his own headset
and still sits on the other side and listens to the radio
directly,
broadcast directly. Like it's an in-arena feed for him.
Yes. I'm pretty sure he even gets to hear the engineer on the other side.
He does. When Howard's checking in, yes.
he gets the full raw feed. So does this mean that McMurray gets his own whiteboard?
He's going to get whatever he wants.
Does he get his own Sharpie? I guess that's the question. As we found out with Will Wade, he gets, he's very particular about his Sharpies. All right, let's go to a 336.
Hey, all. Happy, I guess it's Tuesday. Just sitting here watching the Duke-Texas game. I guess Texas is probably pretty good with Sean Miller, but the game has been going on for 5 minutes and 25 seconds, and Duke has all of 3 points. So, greatest player in the world, Cam Boozer, I think his name is. I don't know if he hit the 3 points or whatever, but goddamn, pretty rough. I think Darion Williams had like 15 at this point yesterday. Oh, Cam Boozer just missed the layup. So I'm curious if this is something we can overreact to. 5 minutes of basketball. Curious to hear your thoughts.
You probably should have stayed for the second half, my man.
I don't think that was the
probably should have stayed.
I don't think that was the point of the call.
Was it?
I don't think that was the point. Let's go to a 252. I saw what they were doing there. I saw respect. Let's go to 252.
Hey, Giglio. Just watching the last bit of this NC State North Carolina Central game. We scored 114 points and held Central to 66. Covering the spread, we just won by, I believe that's 48 points. So I don't know if that counts as winning and a reckoning, but I sure think it does. So just wanted to share that with you, and just super glad that your boy Keats is no longer here. Thanks.
What is Keats going to be the new Dorn? Taking needless shots forever. I guess we're no longer forever grateful.
Oh man, come on.
No longer forever grateful. We'll hear Kevin Keats on the Kansas UNC game Friday night.
Nice.
Very, very cool. Let's go to 336.
Hey boys, this is Brent in Raleigh. I'm sure you don't want another call specifically about what Julia said regarding how many points we gave up against South Carolina, but I am interested in the larger issue of this whole Red Reckoning thing. And I'm sort of surprised that more state people, considering our long history of shit going wrong, the more people online haven't talked about. Maybe we're pushing it with this a little bit. I'm excited about Will, and probably maybe even more so about Andrew running things. So like yesterday, Andrew tweeted out this picture of Will Wade doing the photo of Jimmy V over at Cameron that ran in Sports Illustrated. I'm just like, I don't know, guys. There's part of me that thinks this might end up being like the Phil Hartman character on Simpsons that came to town and tried to sell him a monorail. Monorail. What's that sound? Monorail. What's that again? Talk to you later. Hope I'm wrong.
Monorail. Yeah, I mean, I get there's an element of that, and you've been burned by things in the past. As I said on yesterday's show, I think it's perfectly okay to put your arms around the hype for once. I think I described it as big dick energy. NC State's lacked big dick energy for a minute now. Maybe try that to see how it works out rather than being demure about tough neighborhoods and whatnot. I don't know. Try it. See how it works out.
Pretty sure the tough and never mind.
Who said the tough neighborhood?
Gottman.
The Gottman said that.
I don't think he was lacking any energy.
Well, that's a different kind of energy. That's a different kind of energy.
Okay.
If we're talking about that kind of BDE, that's a different matter.
Different? Okay. Got it.
Maybe I'm using the wrong example. You're right.
Okay.
But something tells me he was also part of the meme that my brother sent me about doing it on the Will Wade bed, on the NC State Will Wade bed. Let's go to a 919.
How doing, Joe and Joe? Two hours before tip-off here. But ever since the exhibition game, and Giglio just been bringing it up about the reckoning. I'm just kind of glance at the schedule one more time. I'll be honest, I've kind of been tuned out of college basketball the past handful of years, mainly just with all the transfer portal crap, and then with state basketball not being what it should or used to be. I just kind of haven't been in touch with it as much. And man, looking at the non-conference schedule, depending what state Will Wade team is, what it becomes, I mean, we play a lot of good teams. Your thoughts on what the fan base I think we all know what the fan base would do if we kind of put the stinker in non-conference, but let me know what you guys think. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Friday's game against UAB is that's a man. I hope they're awake one, and in part because Andy Kennedy, for those who are true long-time NC State fans, know that Andy Kennedy was allegedly one of the sources for personal fouls.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player who transferred out of Jim Valvano's program in the late 80s.
Do you think Will Wade has read that book?
I hope. Well,
like if
you could read a couple of chapters. I would rather read Jim's book. They gave me a lifetime contract and fired me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have read enough of personal fouls to know that it was just. I read the whole book.
It's not a good book. Right.
No, it's brutal.
It's a terrible book. But my point is, if Will Wade's truly immersing himself into the Wolfpack culture, if he's like, hey, is he like me in that sometimes you're bored, there's nothing on television, and you suddenly find yourself on Wikipedia entries getting into the lore, and then that takes you to some other like fan websites to kind of immerse you even further.
Listen, if
he's into the Wolfpack lore, then he's going to stick it to Andy Kennedy on Friday night.
I was going to say, if Will Wade really wants to get the people going, he will beat Andy Kennedy on Friday, then drive to the Oakwood Cemetery and light a copy of Personal Fouls on fire and have a voiceover that just says, the debt has been paid.
All right, let's go to an 832.
Perfect teamwork for everything. You have different positions on a basketball court. You have company, you have different backgrounds no matter what, right? No one's going to be the same thing. For y'all, definitely, sports talk radio experience is definitely obvious. Sports writer, no matter fucking what, is definitely Giglio. Dude, I have a question, and I've had this question for my entire life. Kind of just been growing more recently as I've grown more mature, and I've noticed some things. And why on God's green earth are sports writers the absolute most critical thing, like most critical person on being stuck on that critical thing the entire damn time?
Sports writers are built a little differently. I would say you guys are built a little different.
Why are you the way you are? I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, one more phone call from a. Would you agree with me that writers are probably the most critical? You're probably the most critical of yourself.
Sure.
I've never met a sports writer that actually writes something and goes, "Damn, I did a good job."
It's
like
rare.
we talked to Brendan Marks earlier. I'm sure Brendan hates everything he's ever written.
Oh, God, because show me anything from the early days, and I'll just cringe.
Because I'm pretty sure Brendan's the oldest 30-something I know.
Yeah, he is.
But he surpassed Alec Campbell in old man status as it relates to that. Let's go to a 910.
Hey, lifelong UNC fan here. I'm just asking, as a North Carolina fan perspective, what is the rationale behind NC State fans? Because it seems to us, and me personally, that every time you have a good coach, y'all instantly want him fired as quickly as possible. Let's run through the examples here. Elliot Aban, on the show, y'all have mentioned several times how every State fan wants him fired. Moving forward, Kevin Keats, the most successful basketball coach at NC State in the last 50 years, just won the ACC title. Just went to the Final Four. Y'all couldn't get him out quickly enough. Dave Doran, been at NC State forever, has beaten North Carolina and prides himself on beating North Carolina in every way, shape, and form imaginable. And now we put all of our trust into a guy who was fired from LSU, a school that has embezzled money from children's hospitals to win games in football, and we say that's our trust. I don't understand the logic of the State fans. Y'all are the most irrational fan base of all time, and I would like an explanation as to what we expect here at North Carolina State moving forward. Thank you. Go Heels. Have a good night.
I enjoyed that call.
I mean, just to defend State fans here for a second, Carolina's the one that ran Bill Guthridge off after going to the Final Four twice in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina's the one that fired Matt Doherty, who had one losing season after 3 years.
Well, there was reasons why they fired him.
Okay,
Beyond
but
wins and losses. But yeah, I'm just to be clear, he was fired because he was an asshole. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
I get that.
Okay.
But the team he recruited won the national championship the year after he was fired.
Right, because he couldn't do anything with that. That team didn't like him. Look what he's supposed to do.
But the rational ones here, the irrational ones here are NC State, who put up with Michael Caine, Chuck Amato, Tom O'Brien, Dave Doran for 13 years.
Yeah.
Larry Fedora won a division title twice.
Yeah.
Won double-digit games once.
Yeah, but he was crazy.
And he got fired for 2 bad seasons.
And he also wanted to fight for America as well.
Fair enough.
You know,
I'm just saying.
We're going to lose World War III because we're making football safe.
I'm just saying Carolina is the one who likes to fire people irrationally, not State.
Spoiler alert, it's sports. It makes everybody irrational. To that end, I think this is what I've decided to do. I think this is what we're going to do here. Because if this is what we're going to do all season because this whole segment was to set the table in the same way that Will Wade set the table on Monday night at Lenovo Center. So this is what taking nearly 30 minutes of phone calls in this podcast is to prove a point. Okay. This is setting the tone for the rest of the year. And here's what we're going to do. After every NC State basketball game this year, we are going to give you a Reckoning Alert Day threat level. Let's call it RAD. Okay, we're going to call it RAD. Reckoning Alert Day. Levels 1 through 5. I mean, maybe I attach it
1 through 83, or we've moved on.
You know what?
Or 24.
No, you know what?
24.
No, good idea.
83.
1 through 83. All right. Threat levels 1 through 83.
That's right, because we already forgot about 24, so it doesn't exist.
I might want to. Do you still have the bike?
Yeah.
We might have to attach a noise meter to the bike and drive it around downtown Raleigh to let people know it's a Reckoning Alert Day, and we're at level 83.
83.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do.
This is not this is not the DEF CON. The higher the better.
The higher the better.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're at threat level 83,
that means
get
those pants off and get on that Will Wade bed.
You are fucking on the NC State bed tonight. Okay, at a level 83, and maybe that's what the image is for level 83. So we're good. We're down with RADs.
Yes.
All right. We'll give you. So their next game is Friday. We'll see what happens, and I'll have to work on graphics. Maybe Mikey P can come up with the threat level 83.
Okay.
RAD, a Reckoning Alert Day. We good?
I like it.
All right, let's go. Big thanks to Gordon Miller Lending. Check them out online at millerlending.com/the OG or call them directly at 919-447-3377. There is a lot of uncertainty with where things are going. What does that do to interest rates? You might be interested in refinancing. Maybe it's something like consolidating debt. You want to do a home remodel. Maybe you've been at a higher rate because you refinanced earlier. Rates have gotten a little bit lower. You're interested in taking advantage of it. All sorts of valid reasons to want to refinance. But the question is it the right time? And that's the one thing that Miller Lending is going to key in on. Does this make sense for you? Not for them, but for you. So start the conversation today. See where you're at. See what makes sense. And maybe it isn't the right time for you currently. But in 6 months, things could change, and they'll let you know it's the right time. They've done that with me. They've done that with Giglio. So call them directly at 919-447-3377 or visit them online at millerlending.com/the OG. you take that thing to close, you will get a gift basket from our friends at The Butcher's Market. You can check out The Butcher's Market at thebutchersmarkets.com. Speaking of taking things to close, well, something Whitaker and Hamer can do for you. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. It looks like we've cooled off from dissolving the LLC, so that's good. We don't have to contact them about that.
Progress.
But, there's all sorts of other reasons why you might need some legal representation. Well, that's where Whitaker and Hamer can come in. Check them out online at wh.lawyer, your one-stop shop for legal needs. Speaking of homes, Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Speaking of uncertainty, and I've noticed this driving around, you just see a lot of homes for sale. They're not really moving. What does that mean exactly? You've been looking to sell your home. Is it the right time to do it? Or you see all this inventory, maybe it's the right time to buy. Take advantage of it. These are questions that you might have. Well, ask the experts. See how it works out. So check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. And of course, our friends at Roback, check them out online at roback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. They're coming out with new stuff all the time. They've got a new Movember polo with little mustaches on it. Proceeds go to Movember, which is great to see. This fleece came in.
Yeah, your fleece.
This shacket fleece. This bad boy is heavy.
Substantial.
I'm going to stay warm in the rink.
Coming to an arena near you.
I take that to DC.
Yeah.
When I'm storming youth hockey rinks. Let's go. Storm the website, roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Did you already use it once? Okay.
Just create a new email.
Right. There's ways around that. Yeah. It's called new burner emails. What we do.
Take our word for it.
Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline from the Charlotte Observer, he covers the Carolina Panthers. He is Mike Kaye. Mike, typically when we talk to you, the Panthers are losing. Everybody's freaking out. Everything has to change.
Podcasters are quitting.
Right. But no, we got a winning record, a big win over the Green Bay Packers on the road. Feeling good, feeling feisty, Mike. I don't even know what to do with my hands.
I mean... I don't even know how to respond to that. Normally I've got a quip, but yeah, I guess you guys haven't interviewed me a lot during the legendary run that Nick Samak is on, 4-0, when he plays 3 snaps as on field goal team. It's been an interesting ride, man. 4-1 the last 5. The connective tissue has really been when you can run the ball and stop the run, you're going to win, which sounds like a very old school mentality. But really, if you study these last 5 games, Bryce Young's more of a cog than the machine here. And I think that can work in a lot of ways. I think Jalen Hurts is a cog and not the machine for the Eagles. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams rise up around their quarterback so that everybody has a big role. And I think right now you're seeing them win with what they have. And that's why you didn't see much happen at the trade deadline.
So let's actually go to the trade deadline. Let's go with the news of the last 24 hours, and then we can work backward to Green Bay and what we've really seen in this 4-1 stretch since Meow Mix called it quits and try to get back. I'm kidding, folks. So they didn't do anything. Dimitri, who was filling in yesterday, he and I had a conversation about this, and he and I disagreed. He's like, no, let's make some moves. I was like, no. The Panthers are still paying for the sins of previous administrations. You're still trying to build to what really we all thought would be a next year leap. So let's see what you have, keep your assets, and go from there. So no moves yesterday, I think, was a good thing for the Carolina Panthers. Am I off base with that?
Yeah, I think it was an adult decision.
Yeah.
I think what happens is when you feel like you're on the cusp of the playoffs, sometimes you sell out to kind of make that finite. The problem is the Panthers aren't even in the playoff bracket right now, right? They're not in the top 7. It's a really good year for NFC teams. Like, they are doing well in a year where a lot of teams have 5 wins or even 6. And so I think while it looks like they could maybe sneak into the playoffs, if they're sneaking in, they're probably the 7th seed and they're not winning the division. And so I think unless you're guaranteed a division title or you feel like a move can bring you to a division title when Tampa's rolling, I just don't know that it's worth it to trade a 3rd or a 4th round pick for a rental. Now, based on my reporting, they were not going to be sellers at the deadline. They did not shop anyone at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know the internet was big on trading Chuba to pay Rico Dowdle, but if you study what's happened with Chuba, why would you pay a guy after what you saw there? Again, adult decision making, not acting on emotions. But that said, Dan Morgan genuinely values draft picks. He said it in January at the Shrine Bowl. He said it in February at the Combine. He said it in March at the owners' meetings. He said it in April during the draft. He said it in June during OTAs. He said it in July when they started training camp. He then said it in August after they traded Adam Thielen. I don't know how many times one person who's a career scout can say that they value draft picks. And so he's never made a trade straight up a draft pick for a player. Every time there's been an incoming guy, it's involved another player. And so you've been swapping out good for bad or bad for good. And so he wants to either swap picks that are late rounders or he doesn't want a deal for a guy at all. He believes in his scouting approach. This draft class is delivered pretty well. And I think the thing that I thought they could do in my conversations around the league was look into a pass rusher in like a 6th or 7th round swap. You saw the Bears do that with a pass rusher with the Browns, although I wouldn't have made that trade. Keon White went from the Patriots with a 7th round pick for a 6th round pick. That was the kind of thing I could have seen them doing, maybe with an Arden Key from the Titans or Matthew Judon from the Dolphins. They did not end up doing that. Obviously, the offensive line's in flux. You don't really trade offensive linemen. Trevor Penning got traded by the Saints, and he's going to play a new position probably with the Chargers. But outside of that, it doesn't really happen. I don't know how you could be mad at not making moves here when teams are giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy with 3 interceptions who's awesome, but is not like a game-on-game difference maker. Then we saw what Quinn Williams got. So I don't know that there was an in-between. When Jalen Phillips is on the final year of his deal and he's getting traded for a 3rd-round pick because the Dolphins are eating the salary, that kind of tells you where the market is. It's either go big or go little. There's no in between. And I don't think either type of move would push them over the edge.
Defensively, and I know what happened against New England and I know what happened against Buffalo, but we also know what they were last year. So where have you seen the biggest improvement with this group defensively? Because it really hasn't been like an influx of new players, has it?
I think, they did spend a lot on defense. They brought in Turk Ward, they brought in Pat Jones, who's been injured. They brought in Christian Roseboom and Trevon Merrick. But to your point, I think it's the value of down the middle. Okay, their coverage unit has played well. But as I brought up earlier, when you play the run on both sides well, you're going to win in Carolina. That's their recipe for success. I think the issue has kind of been using guys in the right spots since Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom have switched up responsibilities at inside linebacker. They've both played significantly better. We all learn differently, right? I think Trevin Wallace has benefited from understanding what everybody else is doing and calling the plays and understanding his spot in the ecosystem. I think Roseboom has benefited from playing free, not having to worry about the responsibilities of other people. But they're using Trevon Merrick, their crown jewel of the free agency class. It was not Milton Williams. Trevon Merrick was the guy they really, really wanted. They wanted to get. They wanted Milton Williams too, but Merrick was the guy that was the can't-miss free agent target. And they're using him in different ways. He's playing nickel corner. He's playing box safety. He's playing dime linebacker. They're moving him around. And you saw against the Packers, he made a trio of huge, huge plays. They don't win that game if he doesn't have the game that he did. He had 2 pass breakups down the field, one including an interception that he returned for 36 yards, set up the second scoring drive. And then he had a big stop on third down for a 5-yard loss. Sorry, my dog's nails need to be trimmed, clearly. So, I mean, he had a huge game. I think Derek Brown coming back's huge. You consider that a free agent addition because he played one game last year. So I think up the middle, they have become stronger. I think they're playing more as a team as opposed to a bunch of individuals. And when you play heavy zone defense, that's really important.
It's interesting. You don't want to go over the top in praising the defense because you've seen some stinkers out there, but that's true of just about any NFL team right now. I think the thing that I would focus on is red zone. If the Panthers are going to be in one of these games, it's the red zone defensive production that has been the standout to me as it relates to the Carolina Panthers. And then on the flip side of that, some way, somehow, this offensive line is working. I don't know if it's Rico, they play better in front of Rico Dowdle. I don't know what it is, but they don't win that game without whatever that makeshift offensive line is producing the way that it did for Rico to go out there, who was hurt, and have the game that he had.
Yeah, I thought Jake Curran played a pretty good game coming in, playing left guard for a couple of snaps, then moving to right guard for the final 3 quarters. Chandler Zavala seemed like a mark in that game where if they were going to stunt Micah Parsons, it would be around him. He just has not played well and is constantly injured. I know he's an NC State guy, but it has not been great for him.
Yeah.
I think this team's very resilient. I think Austin Corbett played maybe his best game at center since he's moved to that position as well. But yeah, again, running the ball. That allows the offensive line to settle in and out physical the Packers. And I think that's what they did in this game. I think they were more physical on the not so frozen tundra this past weekend than the Packers. And I think the Packers in turn played the game the Panthers wanted them to play. They made a lot of mistakes. They handed the ball off at inopportune times. Jordan Love never adjusted to the wind. I thought Canales, one of the things that he deserves credit for is once Bryce Young threw that interception to an angel in the outfield, they acknowledged the wind was a problem. And they made it about the running game. They made it about crossing routes. They made it about intermediate throws. And I think that's why they won this game. They did not make the mistakes that the Packers did.
All right. You made the point all year long, Joe, about every time the Panthers lose, it's almost always about the other team.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh man, the other team. And I even saw this week, I think it was Chris Carton was like, the Panthers won a football game where Bryce Young completed 11 passes for 102 yards. And it's like, at some point, can we just talk about the other team just a little bit? Not in the sense like, oh my God, the Panthers suck and they lost this team. But Mike, I'm curious your take on the Packers, because I was wrong after week 1 about the Packers. But when they lost Tucker Kraft, he's their one difference maker on offense.
Yeah.
He truly is.
Yeah.
I mean, so I look at that and I'm like, the construction of the Packers to me is flawed.
Yeah, I think it's a tough beat when you have like 45 number 2 wide receivers.
Number 3 receivers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Matthew Golden was my favorite wide receiver in the entire draft class. Maybe my favorite player in the entire class overall. And, they kind of shut him down. He got banged up. I just kind of think like everyone's a role player there. And so you're counting on the effectiveness of the quarterback, really. And, I think it's the opposite for the Panthers. I think you have a lot of role players that are stepping up around the urgency of the quarterback, right? Like we always talk about relief pitchers and closers when they come into a blowout game because they need some work and they can't get up. You know what I mean? They can't get that emotional drive to start off early. And so they kind of have to ease into it. That's what Bryce is. Bryce is constantly playing in a state of not necessarily panic, but urgency when he is behind. And that's when he's comfortable, right? You never see them start off and they're like completely just B to A, you know what I mean? Like it's never a thing. So I think it's very interesting. I thought the Packers did a lot of what the Eagles did last year against the Panthers, where all week you're saying, well, Saquon's going to run for 350 yards against this defense. And instead, Nick Sirianni decided to drop back and pass a billion times, and it allowed the Panthers to stay in the game. I think similarly, the Packers wanted to run the football. When they couldn't, they just didn't adjust. And ultimately what happened was they kept the Panthers in the game, and every time they got to the red zone, they made poor calls, and the Panthers surprised them, which they shouldn't have, because outside of, the Bills game, these last 5 games, they have stopped the run effectively. And so I think it was kind of like the Packers made their own bed and the Panthers tucked them in when it mattered.
It's interesting. You're bringing up the Bryce Young numbers and things like that. And this point was made. I'm just bringing it up again. It's not like Josh Allen was lights out in the win against the Panthers. That was the James Cook show, which we'll close the conversation on this, the Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard dynamic and how we got here. And I think it's worth revisiting because I don't want to say Dave. I've jokingly said Dave Canales got publicly shamed into Rico Dowdle getting the bulk of the carries rather than doing this, you get a series, I get a series nonsense of trying to get Chuba back into the fold. It seems that these guys are okay with the roles. I mean, Chuba's getting paid. So if he needs to come in and spell Rico Dowdle is what it is. And if Rico Dowdle has the season he's having, he's going to get paid when it's all said and done, maybe not with the Panthers. So how did we get here? What was the process to finally get to this point? What was Canales really trying to do going back to the Jets game, what happened in the Bills game, and how we ended up getting to that Green Bay game? What's the definitive answer to that?
I mean, I think you can't let a guy who's the face of the franchise sink your offense. And I think Chuba is very clearly not himself or not playing like himself. And so I think when that happens, you have to come to the realization that Rico's on a heater and it's okay to go to the hot hand. I think that Dave gave Chuba adequate chances to kind of get out of what the funk he was in, and it just didn't happen. And we're seeing the results. But the thing is, running back is such a volatile position. We've seen guys have like huge breakout runs for like a month, and then they just quiver after that, or they melt down. And I think there will be a time where Rico has a game that's like 12 carries for 50 yards. And people will be like, well, see, this is why you wanted Chuba. We've seen in short yardage that Rico is not particularly effective.
Sure.
I mean, there are several examples of that, and Chuba that kind of plays into. So it'll be interesting to see how this happens. Like the Packers are a legitimate run defense. And so it was interesting to see Rico do what he needed to do. Sorry, my dog is just driving me insane.
Oh, it's a dog. That's what dogs do.
Hardwood floors, guys. But I think what's crazy in this whole situation is how people reacted to a 40-9 loss to an AFC contender when this team does not have the expectations that they do. Like people wanted Andy burnt at the stake. They wanted Chuba traded. It's like, I'm not trying to criticize fans here, but it did kind of feel like, where did this come from? Like, you win 3 games straight against really mediocre teams, and then suddenly a head honcho comes to town, and you get predictably.
Mike, going forward, man. After you beat the Packers up in Green Bay,
yeah, I know,
and we're evoking some old Cam Newton games, man. Like you got the Saints coming up. People can feel it now. I mean, people are feeling it now.
Well, yeah, this. Look, if they lose to the Saints, you are more than within your depth to criticize.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Like, a lot of people I saw on social media acting like Bryce got soft bench against the Bills, which made no sense.
All right, Mike, I finally figured it out. You, sir, need a detox.
I do.
You need specifically a Twitter detox.
Well, here's the thing. I like to be interactive with people, but here's what I would say, okay?
Not go to Reddit. Whatever you do.
I would never go to Reddit. Never. It's not
for me. The Panthers Reddit, dude, you're never going out. You're never coming out. I've
gotten messages from people, but like that's the thing. I mostly get the messages sent to me.
Okay.
Like I have a neighbor and friends who are just like, hey, did you see this? And I'm like, no, but thank you for sharing. I guess here's what I would say. Like, I think that having expectations for this team has now been validated, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But the reason why these past 2 games are so important, I felt, for Bryce, is you wanted to see him beat a team that had some merit.
Mm-hmm.
He missed, obviously, the Buffalo game. And he didn't have a very good game against the Packers, but he made 2 very clutch throws on that final drive that set up that game-winning field goal. And I think that's something you can build on. Now, they can't take their foot off the gas against the Saints. Based on my conversations with people after the Packers game, like Damian Lewis essentially said they treat every game like it's a Super Bowl weekend, which I think is kind of overzealous and unsustainable. Ike Ekwonu said that they need to keep stacking. Dave Canales said that he is focused on beating the Saints and not the trade deadline on Monday. Like, I think the messaging's there. I think they understand how big of a letdown the Bills game was, warranted or not. And look, I mean, they have the opportunity to be 6-4 heading into Atlanta, potentially 7-4 heading into San Francisco. That's huge. Like, that is huge. And right now they have if they can beat the Saints, they will be 2-0 in the division on top of that. And we've always said it's about winning the division games and then beating the mediocre teams. That's how you make the playoffs if you're the Panthers.
Hey, so far, so good. So good. So far, we don't know what to do. Actually, I do know what to do. Ban you from Twitter. That's what we need to do.
If
your friends and neighbors actually care about you, they'll stop sending you those things.
Don't do that to Mike.
I mean, I don't know that anybody genuinely cares, but what I would say is this: I have taken a break, mostly over this week.
Yeah.
I think it's time, and done some muting, some healthy muting, which has been very nice.
Was it Marshawn Lynch who said it? You got to protect your mental. You got to protect your mentals.
Right. What gets me is the For You page, which I never click on. It just automatically populates, which is like the worst thing in the world. But what I would say is, like, I pride myself on being interactive. I think that's one thing that I really, for my brand and separate myself from other people, is I will answer a question most of the time, if you ask an appropriate, like, curious question, I want to help you out. But yeah, and I also host mailbag, so I see a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's true. You do have the mailbag. That is an aspect.
But what I will tell you is this: I haven't gotten Tepper hate in my notifications in roughly 3 weeks.
It's almost like there's a formula to this. If you stay out of the news and your team wins, I feel like there's a direct correlation as to when we talk about the owners and when we don't talk about the owners.
Poor Woody Johnson.
Yeah, well, the Jets continue to be a hot mess. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer. Hey, man, we appreciate the time as always. Be nice to him on social media. We'll talk.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We took a football break with Mike Kaye. He needs a social media break. You might need a hockey break.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Poor Mike. Here, Mike, here's a banana bread smoothie, man. Just log off.
Yeah.
Enjoy the banana bread smoothie, man. That's what it's all about.
Could use a delicious smoothie right about now.
Well, you can go get one and bring me back one while I'm editing the podcast.
Okay.
Sounds like a
It's
plan.
a deal. We'll use the app. Use our promo code.
Yeah, use promo code OG25.
It's a big savings, actually.
25% off a smoothie, 25% off a bowl. It's all there for you. So check them out. Download the app today. Use that promo code OG25. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Pest Authority is actually showing up to my house today as I get my quarterly treatments, which is important this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure that those critters aren't getting in. You got roaches, ants, all that kind of stuff.
Termites. They do termites too.
Yep.
You know, you have to have that for your home insurance.
Yes. Yeah. So go to bugsbite.com. Get that process going. No contracts with bugsbite.com at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. So you can pay as you go. And of course, you know, we are, like we said, we are entering into OG After Dark Big Four Vortex is about to unfold here in the month of November. And of course, our friends at Bloom and Blinds are going to bring you those After Darks. So check them out online at bloominblinds.com or call them directly at 919-980-9815. Again, that's 919-980-9815. Chris and the crew, they're going to take care of you. 10 or more window treatments, you're going to get 10% off. So go to bloominblinds.com. You know, there are things that happen that just warm my heart. I know that Meow Mix has caught some strays this week, so let's give some love to a man who's done it brick by brick, a man who's done it organically. He's been trying to make a song happen, and it finally broke through. Carolina Mike got posted by the Panthers, Joe. He got posted by the Panthers.
What's up, y'all? I got a question. Y'all ready to support these Carolina Panthers as they keep pounding against these Green Bay Packers? Yeah, spent $150,000 on a football team. Wait a minute, that's not enough to buy a team. Spent $150,000 on a tricked out Porsche. Wait, what? Minnesota, it snows too much. Build me a tennis court outside my house, but the HOA is gonna make me tear it down. Might give me some Panthers season ticks. Just might get a tiny home in the sticks. Scratch that, I'ma get me a big old bus. One big enough for all of us to double dutch. Getting chased by turkeys as we cruise around. Windows down, not up so you can hear the sound. If you had 150,000.
The Monopoly money for those who are not watching on YouTube. He throws the Monopoly money at 150,000. Also, those headphones, they're like Xbox.
Those are Turtle Beach gamer headphones.
Yeah.
My kids have had those headphones.
I don't know what's happening, but it works. That's all I know.
He's
dropping
keeping
bars in there too.
He's dropping
is
bars
he in Minnesota. Like, I don't get the snow thing, but
I don't get it either. It doesn't matter. He's cooking.
Amazing.
He's cooking. He's gone viral. He's been able to show up to clubs. The Panthers are finally posting him.
Hey,
look, we've been focused on what Meow Mix isn't doing on a 4-1 record right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Carolina Mike. And if I had 150,000, I'll go to the OG Triangle Mediashop.com and buy some hoodies. That's what I would do. Buy some hats. That's what I would do. I love that he's getting
respect
some love,
the hustle, man. Respect it.
Brick by brick, man. That man's been posting this song since August. Like pretty sure early August, if I tracked it correctly, and it's finally broken through. Follow your dreams, kids. Follow your dreams like one John Bon Jovi, aka Bon Jovi. It's almost time with Christmas. Did you know he is the voice on the Star Wars Christmas album?
Yep.
R2D2, we wish you a Merry Christmas. He's singing that. He was on the Rich Eisen show. You sent this to me, and I see the same picture. Corporate wants you to tell the difference between these two individuals. It's a picture of Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen. I don't see the difference. I see two classics from New Jersey.
Meet Bruce Springsteen. When did
oh my
that
God,
happen?
in the latter 70s. The first time I was in a cover band, it's like 1978. We're playing a lot of R&B. We were sort of like the Muppets version of the Asbury Jukes. I had 5 horn players. I was underage. I was playing in the bars. I'm 17 years old.
Yeah.
And one night, having known that he's always been around, I turn around at my own microphone on the stage, and boom, he's on stage with us. It was good fortune for me to have your heroes be so close.
And so when you said he's been a big brother to you, what do you mean by that?
Like I say, I've known Bruce since I'm in high school. And so they were always, thumbs up, wink and a nod, have the occasional burger together. But as I got older and we got older, we go take these 100-mile drives where we just, no radio, no phones, nobody. Now we can talk like two older, wiser men who have been around the block a few times, and somebody needs somebody to talk to every once in a while, including even him,
So you're just where you leave, you're incommunicado, you're on the road, and just talking about life, you and Bruce Springsteen on the road? Does he ever rest up?
He does not.
Damn straight he doesn't.
It's awesome.
I don't get the rest up.
On the Jersey Turnpike, John Bon Jovi has his own rest stop.
Oh, that's right.
James Gandolfini has his own.
That's right. He's got his own rest stop.
Vince Lombardi has his own rest stop.
Is there something in the water in New Jersey when it relates to the hair?
Bon Jovi?
Because I'm seeing Bon Jovi. I'm seeing your future. Like he's still got that like heathered look, man.
If I was an eighth as sexy as Bon Jovi is, I'd be okay in life. That's a handsome fucking man.
He has aged gracefully. He has aged gracefully. All right. Speaking of music and R&B and things like that,
Asbury Jukes
is pretty good. I like Bon Jovi.
We know you do.
I think he's better than Bruce. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Y'all, so a while back on OG Business, and there's a new OG Business out today talking about the
Not
ESPN
Will Wade and Dave Doran.
Not Will Wade and Dave Doran. No, not one of Dimitri's best takes. But you could trust us on the ESPN Google carriage fight and things like that. And NCFC, or I'm sorry, North Carolina FC, the soccer, the professional soccer team, going on a hiatus that I am not so sure that they're coming back from this hiatus.
Probably not.
I believe they're going to be on permanent hiatus, unfortunately, for North Carolina FC, which has just been a money pit for Steve Malik. And they can do some good things in the youth organization, and they put out some pros, but hey, man, if you ain't in MLS, it's tough sledding for you. Even MLS is struggling.
Even if you are.
Even if you are. So all of that is on OG Business. One of the OG businesses that we had discussed was one of my harebrained schemes to tell you about how AI music is going to be the future of sports talk, where you could just put in the parameters you want and it'll spit out a style that you're looking for. And that's what's going to be the sports talk, which, by the way, a little bit of news. We'll probably talk about this on OG Business next week. Adobe's come out with some products that are scary. There are some products that'll help me out, do what I do in my, graphic design is my passion, thumbnails for YouTube and whatnot. But there's some audio things that they're doing that I could just basically say, hey, I need a Joe Giglio take on exhibition basketball. It'll spit it out.
Yikes.
We're so cooked, guys. But you all focused on the AI versions of rock songs. And I believe this was from T, sending me the Mr. Professor, what if the Foo Fighters Learn to Fly was classic soul?
Fly by Foo Fighters is classic soul. Love Foo Fighters, love this song, and this cover is bananas.
And tell all of the angels this could take all night. Think I need a devil to help me get things right. Hook me up a new revolution, 'cause this one is a lie. We sat around laughing and watched the last one die. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good, all things considered. I like how he put in the caption. I could see this going on the end credits of a Disney movie.
Yes.
That's a very, very good. That's very
Good call.
accurate. I do like that. I
Good
do
call.
like that. All right, the last one, another listener sent this to us.
This one's
This is
one's
Eminem
really,
Without
really good.
Me if it was done in the 50s. Let me put the audio here.
In the 1950s.
Yes. Who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Na 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 na. I've created a monster, 'cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more. They want Shady, I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want Shady, this is what
I don't know if that's still more 60s and 50s, but I get what they're going for.
Created
there.
a monster. That's so good.
Yes, we have created a monster.
Let's go.
I don't know what I love more, these soul covers of tracks from the 90s and the early 2000s, or all of the Sora AI generated slop of Mr. Rogers chopping it up with Tupac or Martin Luther King talking about hitting 20-leg parlays so we can get with the huzz. Like, those are real things that populate my algorithm now. It's a little bit of a problem.
Could send you something from my algorithm to help you out.
Are you still on the sorority dance talk?
No.
We moved on from that?
No. I got a better one for you.
Oh boy. Can't wait. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I will see you all next week. I'm headed up to DC. We got an OG Live coming your way on Thursday. And, of course, a mailbag, all brought to you by our friends at the Butcher's Market. So go check them out at thebutchersmarkets.com. 5 stars only. Positive vibes only.